Ira Winderman.
Jimmy, the way this series played out, especially if you were in the scoring column, was it just a matter of being such a focus by them? Was it you feeling that you were a little bit off? The system, the setup, the strategy? I mean, based on what you did last year throughout the playoffs versus this year in this series, what specifically made it so dramatically different?
Just some missed shots here and there. I think they did a great job. I think you kind of just leave it at that. But my game's never been about just scoring. It's about everything else, getting stops, getting everybody else involved. Scoring was a little bit low, but it's part of it.
You've been very honest about where your team has stood throughout the course of last season and in the playoffs and this season. At times you said you weren't good enough. At times you said that the guys got together and they played well. When you look at this team now at the end of the season versus the end of last season, do you see enough or do you feel that maybe more will be needed to get you back to where you were? Thank you.
I mean, we were a completely different team last year with different guys with different skill sets. But you go to war with any and everybody that you have, and you hope for the best because you go out there and you can compete. But yeah, we can be better. We'll get better. But I'm grateful for the opportunity to play with all the guys that I played with this year. Say thank you to each and every one of them just for being in the trenches, competing with me and for me. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
In that Heat culture, Bam led the team in scoring with 20. Let's take a listen.
What did you say to other guys?
I think we just said it was a crazy season, guys being out, COVID protocol, testing, just do all that, try to find the positive part.
Thank you, man. Next, we go to Ira Winderman.
Did this just sort of feel like a run-on sentence from last year that you never really got a real off-season? There was a lot of sort of chasing tails after so many guys had to miss time for COVID protocols. Jimmy is 10 games there, battling back from 7 games under 500. Did it just sort of feel like almost like a hamster wheel, like you were just constantly trying to chase to get back to where you were last year in the playoffs?
I mean, we definitely want that feeling again, getting back to the finals. But definitely a different year for a lot of us, especially us, protocol, like I said earlier, protocol, testing, guys in and out of lineups, trades, trying to get dudes adapted, all that mixes into a season.
And the other part of it is clearly the Bucks game plan for you. There was a Bam Adebayo game plan. As you grow as a player, as the league grows to respect you, when do you expect more of that? And is that almost sort of a sign of other teams' respect for you, that there's going to be that going forward and you're going to have to work through those kind of things? Thank you.
Growing pains. It's my job to come back better every year. And that's my job.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Cooper Moorhead.
I know there was that stretch in the last month of the season where things were looking pretty good, but for the most part, why do you think the team's offense never really seemed to find its rhythm and footing, both in the regular season and going into the series?
I mean, there is no excuse for us. We hold ourselves to a higher standard, but like the earlier first 2 questions, has a lot to do with everything. Guys being in and out of lineups, switching the lineups, changing the lineups, dudes getting traded, trying to get dudes adapted. Somebody gets hurt, somebody catches COVID. There's all that going on in the compressed season. You can't really get a flow in offense. So I feel like that was why we couldn't get it together.
Next, we go to Anthony Chang.
Hey, Bam. Kind of go with Ira's question. I know the offseason hasn't even started. This year you added the mid-range jumper to your game. You became a better offensive player. When you look at how teams have played you down the stretch here this year, like what do you see as far as things you could improve to counter other teams the way the Bucks played you and others have played you this season?
Let me ask you something, Anthony. You watch the games, right?
Yes.
What do you think I need to work on?
I'm asking you.
No. You watch the games. You know I'm out there. You know my answer. What's your answer?
Mid-range jumper. I don't know. You added that already.
That's it. That's all you got after watching me for 4 years, ain't it?
That's all I got.
Then I'll work on my middies.
All right, Bam. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Black Lives Matter, people.
Bam being very honest and forthcoming. Be interesting to see what the big face call.
In the room to the guys.
I mean, even before that, Tim, I can speak on behalf of our organization and our locker room that we tip our hat to the Bucks organization. They were a great team last year, and they improved on that. And whether we were a part of that improvement or not, it's irrelevant. But they took their game collectively to another level, and they beat us for a reason. They were much better, during the regular season, and then in these 4 games. So we tip our hat and congratulate them. But the message, the majority of my message to this locker room, is between me and them. But the overall, deal is one of appreciation, for what everybody brought to this season. It was one of the more memorable seasons just because it was so uniquely different than anything else we've experienced. And guys had to really adjust and adapt, and I really commend, our guys for doing that and not becoming cynical or making excuses for all the different protocols and things outside of just the competition. But I really liked this group, liked the locker room. I loved the mix of our veterans, and our youth. It was a really cool, unique blend.
And I know it'll get lost in all the big picture stuff today, but third quarter tonight, you've said a million times it's a make or miss league, and it is. Was it as simple as that, or did you see a way that Milwaukee really ramped it up on the defensive end?
Yeah, both. I mean, that's one of the things they've done, right, is absolutely seize those moments of truth during the course of a game. There's always a bunch of little skirmishes that happen, these 3 or 4 minute runs, and they were able to control, the majority of them, this series. And in the third quarter, yeah, we did miss, some shots, that probably could have given us a little bit different life. But you also, if you're them, you have to capitalize on that, and they did. When they had to make shots, they did. When they had to get a stop in this series, they were able to do it. When they had to get a run of 3 or 4 in a row, and force a timeout, it seemed like they were able to do that more often than not.
Thanks, Bob.
Up next, we go to Ira Winderman.
Eric, was this also more than about just one series and maybe the collective weight of this season? I know the short turnaround seems like a long time ago, but it almost seems like a run-on sentence of seasons. Was there a feeling of that along the way, if not at the end?
Yeah, I don't want to say anything that would discredit, what the Bucks did to us. But there is a human side to this. There's no way to know one way or another, other than just how guys that had been through that experience last year and then in the bubble and then